Hello. Hey, you
Hey, how
Hey,
are
how's it
you?
going?
hey,
Okay, Detroit.
yes,
Have
man.
you talked to Kay yet? Sorry to jump right in, but
Oh,
you have a hat rack to rival his.
Yeah, we
I've
got
never seen anyone come close to
big
his.
Tigers fans in this household. Yeah.
oh man, thank you so
Sir.
much. That's in good company. And I have met him once in passing, and it was at the Fox. He was doing this was years ago, and it was just like hey, how you doing? Fine, how are you? And that was it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's wearing a hat though, wasn't he? He's wearing a baseball
Yeah,
cap.
I got the
Oh
Tigers.
yeah. But, but guys, let's get into it, man. I don't know if you know my podcast, but before I start any podcast, I like buttering your bread. I like talking good about you. So we do this thing called the over the top intro. Is that
All right,
okay with you if we start
all
this
Yeah.
way?
right.
Good.
Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is an award-winning writer, producer, director, and a black belt in Taekwondo. When she's not delivering devastating roundhouse kicks, she's directing some of the most emotionally intense movies in all of entertainment. And right next to her is an actor and musical composer extraordinaire. He conducts hauntingly beautiful melodies in order for songs and projects like the one we're here to talk about today. You Can't Run Forever in theaters, on demand, and on digital, May 17th, 2024. Michelle Schumacher, Joe Simmons, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, you make me. I gotta get up and
Thank you, man.
Woo!
Appreciate it. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Man, this is a great project, and one of the coolest things about this, I had to word my questions very hard not to spoil anything.
Yes,
Um,
thank you.
Michelle, I've loved your work since Oz. Shout out to man.
Oh, wow.
But how did this idea come about?
I know it's crazy. Like, COVID. We wrote it during COVID. Carolyn Carpenter and I wrote it during COVID because we felt isolated and we felt like we were going a little crazy, and we felt like we could snap, because I live in New York, so we were just stuck in our apartment. And it just kind of spurred from that. Plus, you're reading weird stories at the time of people losing it and doing strange shit, and you go like, why would you do that? Why would you, And so it just came from that, like that feeling of trauma and stress and survival and anxiety, and we wrote it in 6 weeks. It was like that.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
this movie is centered around a man who's a danger to anyone and everyone he comes in contact with. What was it about? J.K. Simmons, that's the man for the job. I know exactly who that's for. What was it about?
Yeah. Well, you saw, Oz, right? Or Whiplash or
Yes.
Homicide, or he's got it in him. Although he is acting because he's actually the most lovable, sweet, you met him. I mean, he's just a great guy. But I knew that he could play it in a way that is so it's not only scary because he has the best stare in the world. He can stare you down with those beautiful blue eyes, but he also could layer it. He could bring the damage to this character that he needed, because he's not Terminator. He's like the Terminator in that he's just relentless and but he's human. And I wanted to show that the humanity behind it, or inhumanity behind it, and show the degrees, that the extremes that humans can be. And I thought he did a phenomenal job, of course.
Okay. Well, Joe, how did you get involved with this project? Did you read the script and was like, Dad's crazy, I got the perfect soundtrack?
No, but as soon as I saw some of the scenes, I had some ideas for some stuff to write for him. No, I mean, this was kind of as soon as she started working with Carolyn on the scripts and started talking about drafts with my dad and my sister. As soon as there was a final, she sent it my way, and then we all, it started to happen just very early on for the four of us, and so yeah, I was even brought on pre-production to the location scouting, where I got some field recordings of some of the stuff in Montana, and then started to use some of those in some of the early versions of scenes or dailies, or some of the first drafts of the movie. And so yeah, it was very early on and very which was great. Got a lot of time to prepare.
Now, one of the coolest parts, because a lot of your music heightens the drama, lessens it in a weird kind of like gotcha type of way. But one of the things that stuck out, and there's no way you would have known this, is your use of the song "Shaking Off the Rust" by the Bluestones.
That's a spotting song. Yeah. Actually, you know who brought that to our attention was Miss Olivia, who you just interviewed. You
That's
said
right.
because I was looking for something for that opening sequence. That would be a spotting music, and she sent that to me, and it was like, oh, it's perfect.
That's right. Yeah. She did have a lot of songs that were in a playlist that we all kind of listened to, and then we're like picking them apart and being like, oh, this one's great. So that was Olivia.
So that was Olivia that found that.
That's awesome. Here's what you don't know. About a year ago, I had an interview with the Bluestones. Now, here's the cool origin about that. That's why it really stuck out to me. And not to pat myself on the back or anything. That song, while we were talking about it, came because Tariq had crippling writer's block. And he was noodling the song. And he just said, if I make this song, I could just get over anything. And I found it very interesting that that's what Miranda used, like climbing a tree to get over the anxiety. So it just perfect.
Bro, that's crazy, dude.
I love that. First of all, I love that story. Second of all, I'm gonna steal that and say I knew it ahead of time. No, I didn't. But
that's awesome.
But you know what? I believe in energy and like you are drawn to things, right? So like we're our energy is intermingling even though we're not in person. And I love that's that come around, right? Like I love the connectedness of that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
Remember, there's two parts to this story. They also said one day they would want that song centered around the main character in an action movie. I will send you the link. I will send you the link.
I would please.
Yeah,
you got
it.
For real. That's crazy.
Yeah, like for real. Because oh my gosh. Wait, where are we going here? Send
you gotta send that,
Yeah, but my next question, I don't want to get too far into this, but
but I love that.
You already dragged us into that whole
I know. Like the crew, the cast is a small, tight-knit family, in your case, literally. Like, how was it getting to shoot some of those intense scenes where you kind of had that chat like, hey, or was it I mean, how was it?
Yeah, that's a good question. And without giving these spoilers away, it was like, hey, it was like, you know, pulling Olivia aside, or, you know, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? And she's like, I'm an actor, and like, bring it on. You know, it was actually really, really, I don't want to say easy because it's never really easy, but it was so, it just flowed. It was actually kind of, you know, fun to direct. Even though, I mean, there was horrible things going on. But again, I feel like it's a movie about you know, that also brings awareness to things that is really important. But it was fun. It was kind of easy. They're really good. Everybody was really. I think we cast it well. The cast is incredible. Our crew on it. You know, I mean, post production, the sound, and our editor Evan, and just kind of easy. Except the woods shooting at night was horrible. But everything else was easy, so it kind of makes up, right? It balances.
Like, one thing I can say, Michelle, you seem to bring the best out of your characters. I guess in this movie specifically JK, because like I look at a movie like I'm Not Here, where he didn't have a lot of speaking roles. But he had to like convey these emotions and convey all of these things. So when you have to make him a maniac, how do you get him in maniac mode? Or is it just kind of like, oh, remember that thing you did? All right, do that again.
I mean, I like to think it's in the writing, you know, like I said, Carolyn Carpenter and I wrote this one, and Tony Cummings and I wrote I'm Not Here. And when we finish this, whenever I finish a script, I give it to JK to read, you know, and he either connects with it emotionally or he doesn't. I've given him scripts in the past. He's like, I just don't connect with this. I just don't get it, or whatever. And then I either work on it or I set it aside for, you know, a different actor. But he connects with things emotionally, and then he can bring it. And that's me as a writer director, or other writer directors. If he doesn't emotionally connect with whatever it is, even if it's something awful like Oz, like he could understand, he doesn't agree with it, but he's like that character, it's about, you know, he believed in something horrible, and, you know, the worst thing in the world, but he understood it, right? He understood that connection. So that's where it comes from. And then he just brings it, you know, he just brings it.
Well, that kind of, all right. Well, speaking of bringing it, like, did he have any input? Because there are some moments. Yeah, I am wording this character.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm wording this very carefully, but
Yeah,
there are
I know where you're going.
There's some improvised or seemingly improvised dark humor. Is that him or was that writing?
Yeah,
Whenever...
I'll say half of it is in the script that we wrote, and half of it was him improvising on the day. Yeah.
Well, guys, this was an excellent film. I thank you so much for just giving me a little bit of your time. Thank you. I will get that link over to you. But for the most part, just thank you for your time. This is a great project, and I just wish you most success. And I want everybody to see this. This was a dope project.
Yay! Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. This was so fun.
All right. Have a great one, guys.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.